on, brother.
Hi. It's your boy Two-Way Ray. Yep, we're live, pal, and we're here to go into another week this week in MMA. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This is a live edition. Your boy was busy last week. Sorry about that, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to get off the ball and I'm not going to be consistent. Oh, no, we're going to deliver this to you live. And I also apologize for promising that there will be an episode of Kings of Sport yesterday when we were going on during our this is all being left in. I'm too lazy. I'm not editing this. That's why it's so hard to get these out. But yes, I know I promised the episode of Kings of Sport on our live watch of SummerSlam Sunday, but everybody was unavailable, and you just get me. We still going to make up something within this week, and that's this live edition of This Week in MMA. It's a lot to talk about from last week, including the PFL-MVP MMA merger, including the recent arrest of UFC fighter and commentator Anthony Smith, and the two fight cards from both the UFC and the PFL that happened over this past weekend. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the news. So as I mentioned, yes, Professional Fighters League will be combining and merging with Most Valuable Promotions MMA division. Yes. So as we go to the press release right here. So, yes, Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian, aka the bald brother with the glasses, wearing sunglasses at night, they will be the co-founders of this new venture or this new particular version of MVP MMA, while John Martin, who is currently the PFL president, will become the MVP MMA CEO and board member. So he will be remaining on the staff in the executive suite alongside Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian. So this, at least PFL in name, is going to remain as such, and they will not fully shift over to the MVP MMA moniker until later on, either at the end of this year or beginning of next year. So big news. I think both Nikisa and Jake Paul were making the rounds as far as getting in touch with the media. I know Jake Paul had a recent interview on ESPN saying that he wanted to challenge UFC head-to-head. He also said that he is trying to scoop up as many free agents as he can because he knows that there will be even more competition in the MMA space once former Bellator and Strikeforce head Scott Coker comes out with his own promotion at the beginning of 2027. So big news in the world of MMA. We'll see where it goes. You know, a lot of people, you got some people saying this is a big deal. You got a lot of people saying, oh, they're just going to feel like everybody else. My opinion, if Jake Paul continues and stays true to his word that he wants to go head-to-head with the UFC right off the bat, and in the short term, they will indeed lose. They will indeed tank. And I know people get mad when I make the comparison, or when others make the comparison between professional wrestling and UFC, but since they're combat sports in some form or fashion, and they have some similarities to them, I can only think of WCW, World Championship Wrestling, when they tried to become a viable number 2 against, and tried to go ahead and take on the WWE World Wrestling Entertainment, or at the time World Wrestling Federation. They wanted to take them on head to head, and as brother Chris Ely is famous for saying, Eric Bischoff, in his 65-year life now, he had 83 good weeks as being the head of WCW, but then it all came crashing down because he was making promises both financially and also to the fans that he just couldn't keep up to, and the product was suffering because of it. So I think instead of going the WCW route, where you're paying all this money to free agents and you're trying to make yourself look as big as possible in the eyes of MMA fans, I think you need to take the All Elite Wrestling approach, which is the now number 2 leading professional wrestling promotion under the guise, or under the head, I should say, under the supervision, I should say, and the leadership of Tony Khan. I believe take your time, build things up. You can get stars here and there, bring some folks in. I think MVP MMA, when they did have their first ever show on Netflix, I think you can only do that particular style of show one time, but you need a consistent roster to get people hooked on seeing those folks. You can only get so much equity out of, and you can only squeeze the money towel and wring it just enough to get folks in tune with old faces and nostalgic faces like a Ronda Rousey, like a Carla, I'm about to call her Gina again, Gina Carano, and a Junior Dos Santos. Like, you can only go to that well so many times before people stop having interest. I think you need to start building stars, and you can do that with the PFL roster. You already have some great fighters in that particular promotion right now. I think you could build those guys up. Usman Nurmagomedov, which we'll get to in a little bit, sign that brother, get him locked down under contract. Also continue to push these folks like Dakota Ditchefer, who also fought this past weekend, who we'll get into as well. Johnny Eblen, who's the interim PFL middleweight champion. Costello Von Steenis, who is the current PFL middleweight champion. Get those guys locked in as well. Thad Jean, who just picked up the victory and earned the PFL welterweight championship. Like, build these brothers, build these sisters, build these folks up so that they can start looking just as capable as the UFC, and start bringing over talent that is on the level, that is top level, because a lot of people are going to be like, or a lot of the fighters that are under contract of PFL, a lot of their goals are, I want to go to the UFC. I want to be the best. Well, you can start trickling away at being the best in the PFL, so that way they don't have to go anywhere. So start building up that fighter roster. First off, get behind the great folks and the great fighters that you have already, and also lure some of these folks on from the UFC that may be disgruntled. I know Tom Aspinall is pretty disgruntled right now. It's going to be hard to get him. I think he's still held under contract, but have him thinking about what his next steps could be once his contract is done. You got a lot of other fighters that are kind of contemplating seeing what the other side of the fence looks like. So I think if you can start putting in other folks' minds or other fighters' minds that MVP MMA is another safe landing spot. We're not just going to be here for a good time and not a long time, but let them know that we're going to be stable, we're going to be consistent, and we're going to treat our fighters right. Then I think that can be a great landing spot for other fighters. And you don't necessarily have to go head to head. You could just offer a great alternative for both the fighters and the fans. For the fighters, as far as knowing that they'll get compensated what they deserve, and for the fans, knowing that they'll get high quality competition, which is not what they have been getting on a consistent basis with the UFC. So we'll see what happens. Updates will follow as soon as I get them. So moving on, UFC fighter and commentator Anthony Lionheart Smith was arrested last week on charges of domestic violence, terroristic threats, and I believe not false imprisonment, but coerced imprisonment. And let me get the actual terms for you. Again, we're live, folks. We are live. I'm trying to get, here we go. Yes, false. Oh, it was false imprisonment. All right. So let me show you guys up on, pull up the screen for you guys. All right. So this was an incident involving both Smith and his wife. So I believe Smith was asked to leave a bar alongside his wife. He told his wife to get in the car so that they can drive home together. His wife refused. He started making threats that he would kill his wife if she did not get in the car. She eventually did get into the car, but then she left the car again, and witnesses say that Anthony Smith tried to back up the car towards her, and then when she was walking in front of the car, he sped out towards her in her direction, potentially or attempting to hit her with the car. So witnesses say that she had to jump out of the way in order to avoid being injured or being damaged by Smith. So this is crazy work, bro. This is crazy work. His wife did release a statement on Instagram. We'll go through that. So, quote, there's not a lot I can say right now, Michaela Renee Newman said in an Instagram comment shared by Smith's manager, and this is coming from bloodyelbow.com. Quote, I love Anthony with every ounce of my being. He is a good man, a great dad, and an incredible husband who loves us endlessly. Anyone that knows him can attest to that. They made a mental health struggle into something it wasn't. I am safe and always was safe. He would never hurt me, ever. I called for help to protect him from himself. Smith's manager, Brian Butler, also released a statement on the charges brought against his client. Quote, "We are aware of the reports concerning Anthony Smith's recent arrest," the Sucker Punch Entertainment owner wrote. "At this time, it would be inappropriate to comment on the allegations or speculate regarding facts that have yet to be fully established. Like every individual, Anthony is entitled to the presumption of innocence and the due process protections afforded under our justice system. We respectfully ask that people avoid rushing to judgment based solely on initial reports, as they often do not reflect the complete facts or context. Our thoughts are with Anthony and his family as they navigate this difficult and deeply personal matter. We ask that their privacy be respected while the legal process runs its course. Out of respect for the ongoing proceedings, we will have no further comment at this time," end quote. So, and by the way, everything that I shared, all of the details that were shared by the local police who are investigating the situation, those are allegations. So allegedly, those actions were committed by Anthony Smith. So, and in addition to those particular allegations, there were also reports alleging that once Anthony Smith got home with his wife, that there were sounds of gunshots within the home, and that Anthony Smith threatened or is alleged to threaten to take his own life if police officers came into the home. So those are all the allegations. Anthony Smith is being held on $500,000 bond, and he has been ordered not to contact his wife or any of his family during this time. So this is crazy. If you guys are familiar with Anthony Smith, you know that he was a one-time light heavyweight championship contender, fighting against John Jones. I know it's been going around that there is a possibility that head trauma can be attributed to these actions, especially considering that Anthony Smith has had a nearly 20-year career with over 60 fights. I believe I was listening to Jimmy Smith, the renowned MMA, boxing, and pro wrestling color commentator, and he was saying in those 61 fights that Anthony Smith has been knocked out 13 times. So, or I believe I had gotten that from MMA On Point, which is a tremendous YouTube channel. Go follow those brothers over there, brothers and sisters and other folks over there. Man, while I think two things can be true, I think that CTE and brain trauma can have an effect on people's actions in this particular regard. We also need to hold Brother Smith accountable if these allegations are true. If they're true, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. But also, I think he does need to seek help, especially if there's brain trauma involved. I know a lot of people have been making the comparisons with Dustin Poirier when he had retired and he was flagged down by airport security for being belligerent while intoxicated in an airport terminal. And a lot of people were kind of making similar suggestions that perhaps his incident was encouraged or kind of brought on by some symptoms of CTE or symptoms of head trauma, past head trauma. So the difference between cases is vastly different. So but I do not take that lightly either. So, I do still take that into account as far as head trauma being a contributing factor, and I hope he gets the help he needs. Both men. I know Poirier came out recently, and he talked about his struggles with alcohol, and I think somebody made a comment as well on the YouTube video on that same YouTube video with MMA on Point, where they were like, CTE and alcohol do not mix, and I would venture to agree with that statement. So I hope both men get the help that they truly need and deserve, especially with both men. In Poirier's case, him being fully retired, and in Smith's case, with him not formally announcing his retirement, but with him being out of fighting for a bit. I think his last fight was back in 2024. I think both men trying to deal with the fact that the thing that they did for almost 2 decades in both men's case, that they don't do that anymore, and that they have to spend time and use that energy that they once had prepared for fighting and for training, and invest that energy into other things and to fulfill them the way that fighting fulfilled them as well. So we'll see what happens in the case of Anthony Smith. Again, once we receive more information, we will be updating you as that information comes in. So let's go ahead and move on to some actual fights. And by the way, it was very, very haunting. One last thing on it. It was very, very haunting. Again, MMA on Point with their most recent video that they did on this, and kind of exploring whether or not CTE can have any type of play or any type of I don't know why I'm not remembering the words, but influence, there it is, have any type of influence on this particular case itself. We'll never know, or unless there's some things done after Anthony Smith passes on. There's some tests that are done. I know that they have some tests that can be done, while people are still alive. But it was very, very haunting and very, very, I want to say, troubling to kind of hear Anthony Smith. Prior to this incident, I believe he was doing an interview with someone. I think it was several interviews that were kind of stitched together, and he was talking about the case of former UFC middleweight champion Phil Baroni, and how Phil Baroni got caught up in Mexico with allegedly, and I believe he was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend in Mexico. And Anthony Smith is kind of making the same connections between that particular incident and whether CTE had any influence and any impact within that particular decision that Baroni made. And he would literally say he was scared to death to think that he might be put in a situation like that. So again, go watch the video. After you finish watching this, go watch the video from MMA On Point. They do tremendous work over there. But man, just to hear that, oh, it was just, man, I hope he gets the help that he needs. So now let's go ahead and move on. So as I mentioned before, Thad Gene in the main event of PFL Washington DC the weekend before last, became the PFL welterweight champion. So let's go ahead on to the results for that. So all right, Gene was supposed to face another contender. I need to bring up, yes, here we go. I forgot, Tapology has the canceled or fizzled out fights. All right, so as I pull this up here again, we're live, pal. I'm gonna keep this going, and I appreciate you sticking around for this long. A couple of people are hanging around. Thank you, guys. All right, so that Gene was supposed to face Shamil Musayev, but Musayev had some complications due to his weight cut, and so in stepped Ernesto Rodriguez. So, and by the way, I'm pronouncing their names differently now because I found out how to pronounce them before. Even though Thad Gene is Haitian American, I believe he prefers Gene instead of Jean, so I'm gonna call him Gene. Thad Gene and Ernesto Rodriguez, because he's from Puerto Rico, not Brazil. So in stepped number 8, Ernesto Rodriguez, to challenge against Gene for the vacant UFC or PFL welterweight championships. So Thad Gene was in control, and he was a pretty much odds-on favorite. He was pretty much in control of his striking. He was keeping the distance well in the first round, and he was just picking Rodriguez apart in the first round. So, but he was not able to get the knockout, and he was kind of stagnant with his striking as far as just one shot at a time. He wasn't really putting a lot of combinations together. As we go into the second round, once we get into the second round, Rodriguez starts to turn it on. Even though he was cut under one of his eyes, he starts to turn it on. He starts to go at Gene, and I believe he dropped Gene and was able to take Gene down momentarily. So Gene, I think he was kind of boggled. He was kind of stunned, so he had to get his bearings. Rodriguez tried to look for the finish, wasn't able to get it. We get to the end of the second round, and we go into the third round. That Gene, now he knows, all right, this guy is pushing me now, so I need to go ahead and lock in. And lock in, he did. That Gene just put on some tremendous combinations in that third round. He dropped Rodriguez and was able to finish him with punches and elbows. And Thad Gene became the PFL welterweight champion. All right, going on in the main card, Rafael Xavier defeated Tyson Pedro in the first round by knockout, just destroying Pedro. Pedro, former UFC fighter, MMA veteran, but I believe all his first round, all his victories was in the first round, but then I think a good number of his defeats are in the first round. Xavier able to move on to 15-9 in the light heavyweight division. Also in the light heavyweight division, we had a barn burner. Rasul Magomedov toughed this fight out over Sullivan Cauley, Big Sully. I'll call you Big Sully Sullivan, because brother, you are tough as nails. Rasul Magomedov started, or in the first round, was just pretty much mauling Cauley. He was using his wrestling to get him down. He cut him early. He dropped him as well in the first round. So it was pretty much smooth sailing for Magomedov in that first round. But the second round, you can see the fatigue in Magomedov, and you can see Cauley just starting to pick things up. And Cauley, towards the end of the second round, dropped Magomedov, and now the crowd is just like, oh my God. And so now we got a fight now. It's 1-1 on the scorecards. Go into the third round. Magomedov gets back to the wrestling, gets back to the takedowns, gets back to kind of dominating Cauley and stopping Cauley from mounting any amount of offense on the feet by going back to his wrestling and taking down Cauley. And Magomedov got the unanimous decision victory in a heck of a fight by both men. Both men should be proud of their performance in that particular fight. And then to round off the main card, we had Eliezer Kabansa get a submission victory via Darce choke over Chris Mixon in the welterweight division. So Kabansa could be a top opponent and a top contender to face Thad Gene in the future. So we'll see what happens in that particular division. All right, let's go ahead and shift on over. UFC Fight Night Belgrade happened this past weekend with the main event being Uros Medic versus D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Medic getting the knockout victory. I believe this is his sixth straight victory. This man is on a tear in the welterweight division. In our co-main, we had Navajo Sterling picking up the knockout victory over former UFC light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz. So Sterling, a young up-and-comer, a young prospect, now turning into a young contender in the light heavyweight division. So we'll see how far Sterling's star can rise. All right. More in the card. We got Alexander Rakic, veteran, taking on Marcin Tybura in the heavyweight division. Rakic getting the unanimous decision victory. Then we got Robert Valentin getting the submission victory over Dusko Todorovic via guillotine choke. And to round off our main card, well, with two fights to round off our main card, we got Gilbert Urbina getting the knockout victory over Vlasto Chepo, and that was in the middleweight division. And we got Noah Gugnon getting the rear naked choke victory over Milos Danicic. So that rounds up our main card for UFC Fight Night Belgrade. And to round off our coverage from this week in MMA, we'll go into the PFL New York City card, where Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian were both in attendance and made their first public appearance in the PFL after the merger. So with our main event, we got Usman Nurmagomedov getting the knockout victory over Archie Kogan in the very first round. Again, Usman Nurmagomedov under the tutelage of Habib Nurmagomedov, former longtime UFC lightweight champion, and also Islam Makhachev, current UFC welterweight champion, and also a Khabib disciple. Usman, I think he's just a sure thing. Again, as I said before, PFL/MVP MMA needs to lock him up immediately under contract. I believe this was the last fight on his contract. He is the current lightweight champion. He needs to be locked up. He is the future of he's the future face, I should say, of your company, if he's not the face of the promotion right now. So they need to lock him up as soon as possible. Pay him what you owe him. All right, we'll move on to the co-main event, and another fighter that I mentioned earlier that the MVP MMA brand can hang its hat on is Dakota Ditcheva, who earned a unanimous decision victory over longtime kickboxer Denise Kielholtz. Ditcheva, who won the strawweight championship, or no, flyweight tournament championship last year. She had a long layoff due to injury, but this is her first fight this year, and she looked pretty good. So we'll see where she goes and whether her star can continue to rise as well within that flyweight division and also within MVP MMA. So now we move on to another Khabib disciple in Amru Magomedov, who got the TKO victory over Angel Alvarez with 40 in the fourth minute, 28 seconds in the second round. So he was able to get the victory. He pushes his record up to 11-0, so remaining undefeated. And then we got Mustafa Diakate getting the TKO victory over Darrell Walker. This brother, unique look to him. Man, I think you could do a lot with him, but it looks like he's very, very young into his career. He is 6-0-1. So I think this is a prospect that MVP MMA would like to build up in the future. So with that, that's all I got, y'all. I appreciate y'all sticking around. Unfortunately, I'm not looking much at the comments, if there were any comments anyway, but I'm not tripping anyway. I want to try to give you guys a good, concise overview of all the news that happened this past weekend. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to us on our socials. We're at Nefarious Media Network, some iteration or variation of Nefarious Media Network or Nefarious Media or Nef Media. Just type in Nefarious Media and we should pop up with our good old-fashioned gold crown logo with the black background. So whether it be on Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, all the places, YouTube, which you're watching us on right now. And those are all the free ways that you can support us if you don't mind, because I couldn't get this out on time because I was at a Japanese culture festival over the weekend, and then I also had a part-time job that I had to attend to during the week, so I couldn't get this out on time. But you know what's one way that can make sure that I get videos out on time, to where all I have to worry about is editing and producing for the Nefarious Media Network? That's if everybody contributes to our Patreon. Patreon.com/Nefarious Media Network, where you can get over 300 hours of podcasting goodness, ranging from anything to sports, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, kung fu movies, comic book material or media of any kind, politics. You think about it, we talk about it. So please go ahead. And we also are trying to come out with more incentives, more perks, and more exclusive content that you can only find on our Patreon page. So if you are willing and if you are able, please go ahead and contribute over there. $3 a month, especially with this being the beginning of the month. That means you can get the most out of your patronage right now at this very moment. So please go ahead. Again, if you are willing and able, patreon.com/Nefarious Media Network. So with that out of the way, I will bid you all adieu. Thank you for listening and watching. I've been Two-Way Ray, you've been you, and we've been locked in on another episode of This Week in MMA. Till next time, God bless you. God keep you. Good fight, good night. Peace out. See y'all next week.